It's almost done my eye out.
Which one do you prefer?
You having fun, John?
Yeah.
I prefer the Brian one, obviously.
Do you?
The Brian one.
Brian one.
We won the game.
Oh, no, yeah, I prefer to the Bayern win to the UEFA, sure, but I'm talking about this material flag.
Hello and welcome to the Claret and Blue podcast, coming from Poddymore Heath studio. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by John Townley to preview Aston Villa's trip to Bournemouth. We are filming this before the press conference. It's currently Thursday afternoon for us. John, just before we get into the specifics of the game, are you looking forward to the trip, the last long one of the season?
Yeah, it's approached very quickly, but I am looking forward to it. I don't know. I think the weather's nice, actually.
Yeah,
it's nice
it's supposed to be nice, yeah.
It's nice in Birmingham anyway, I think, 20 degrees, so...
Weird, isn't it, how the season goes so quickly now?
Do
you feel that?
I don't know if it's just because we're...
Adults now.
Yeah, but I was going to say, like, working in...
Yeah, maybe. When I was a kid, I always used to think, 38 games, that's ages away. It feels like such a long time.
Even at the start of the season, you think, it's still...
Months away, yeah.
Yeah,
worry about it. Now it's like end of the season already.
Yeah, the clocks have changed, but it's going to be a while until October, let alone January. But all of a sudden, we're in May.
Yeah.
Are we in May? We're in May.
Yeah, May now.
It's,
Yeah, it won't be long before we're in June. That is how time works. I've got a bag here, John. For those that watch the Q&A...
What you got in there? That's genuinely scared me.
You'll know that we did the discussion about how many grapes you would eat that are poisoned. Now, I don't have grapes in here.
We're back.
However, if you didn't watch the Q&A, this is absolute madness. Skip the next minute or so.
No, don't. This is the best part of the video.
We have, basically, the theory was 100 grapes, one is poisoned. How many do you eat? They're all worth £10,000 each.
Yeah.
Now, I don't have 100, but I have X amount of blue counters and one red.
Oh.
They're all worth £1,000 each.
Yeah.
How many are you taking out before you die?
How many? Do you know how many are on there? It's 22, right?
I think it's a little bit more. I'd say it's about 30. So it's not a bigger chance, but...
how many would I take?
Yeah, go for it. Are you going to play the game? If you get red here, you're dead.
Okay.
Red is dead.
I would take... How much are they worth? There needs to be
5,000.
Oh, no.
10,000. Same as the grapes.
Okay, 10,000.
Actually, there's less of them. 15,000.
Okay. Oh, jeez. All right. I would take... 2?
Go on then.
I'd take 2. All right. Is it really counted? I don't like these things when you can't see.
If this is red, John is dead. It's blue. 15,000. Are you going to go again?
House deposit.
Are you going to go? He's going again. Oh, I'm going to drop it.
Oh, mate.
This is red. 30,000.
Yeah, I'm out.
You going to stop there?
I would stop there. But I will see how long it takes, though.
Okay.
Quickly. We'll just do it quickly. Oh, blue. Yeah,
dish.
So
you can definitely take a few without...
So Matt Lynch's theory, which was to have 10%.
Fine.
He'd be fine, because I've had 11 here.
What's the chance of me getting the red first time?
Go on. I mean, I'm happy you're still going, yeah.
Right. Bournemouth. Welcome back to those that skipped the first few minutes. We're here today to talk about Bournemouth. To me, Villa's hardest game left this season.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, it would be one of the harder games, of the season.
Anyway.
In a season, yeah.
Well, this season
but
it is.
Even coming to the office today, we did say something like, well, hard game, but, Fulham are good as well. And Villa pretty much, coasted that, really. Villa are a team now where we've got to a level where if we play well, the odds are we win the game.
Yeah.
And that isn't saying that we don't disrespect that opponent, but if we were to beat Bournemouth 2-1 or 2-0, great win. But equally, it's not like...
It's not going to be a shock.
Yeah, I think Wolves beat Bournemouth earlier in the season 4-1 or something ridiculous, and it was just like, oh wow, that's a great result for Wolves. But for us, great result, but also it's just hardly beyond the realms of possibility, is it?
How many games we won this year? 19, 18, something like that?
19 games we've won this season, yeah.
I think genuinely we always say at the start, if you can win 20-ish, that's 60 points already.
Yeah.
This is just, if Villa win this game at any point in the season, it's just, that's another one of the 20 that we needed to try and reach our goals kind of thing. Bournemouth is difficult and it does scare me a little bit. However, I do want to kind of lean more towards the side of, if Villa play well, they'll win their final 3 games because we are better than our final 3 opponents on paper. However, football obviously doesn't work like that, and this game does worry me a little bit. 4 games remaining, the job is 100% Fulham is 25%, but Bournemouth feels like it would be more than 50%. I am. I might look silly here. I'm convinced we beat Spurs at home. Like, there's no doubt in my mind whatsoever. And I did say that about Palace at Wembley, and that didn't go well.
But that was different.
It's the final game at home. Spurs are going to make changes regardless now that it's the Friday rather than the Sunday.
If they get through Bodo Glimt,
which they will, they'll make changes. Villa should and will win that game. So I've kind of we've done Fulham and we will do Spurs. So if we don't, and
the final day's the final day.
Yeah, and Bournemouth kind of makes it. Yes, it's 50% because it's another game.
It feels like the key.
It kind of feels a little. Yeah, it kind of feels like a little bit more because I already know in my head. Like you always said, I look at the league table before Newcastle. I'm already giving us 3 points because we have to beat them anyway. I've got it that we've beaten Spurs. Like we've already done it. So
you have to,
kind of going backwards and you get through Bournemouth, it would be more than 50% of the job done. The final day, again, many fans will be scarred by Man United at Old Trafford. Last season alone, 2-0 up and you
ruin my holiday. No, ruin my Christmas.
And you lose. Loads of occurrences through the years. Does anyone remember Makeda, who scored against us?
Who doesn't remember
What's he done since?
That's one of my earliest memories of pain.
Yeah,
in my life,
in football pain. Yeah, definitely. So everyone will be scared of that game. However, if you're going into it, like we said before, you've won 3 in a row. Fulham, Bournemouth and Spurs. You've kind of done so much work to get to that final day to mean something. You go out today, play on the front foot, play to your best.
And ultimately,
if you win, that gets you X. You kind of have to do it.
We're playing for that chance, aren't we?
Yeah.
It feels like you play to get there, and then you've got a week to prepare for what is just, forget we've won 3 games or 4 games in a row beforehand. It's just...
You've got 90 minutes. If you win, there's a decent chance you'll get into the Champions League, so go and do that job.
Yeah, we did a permutations video yesterday, which kind of going through bits and bobs. But yeah, if you just get to the final day, what will be. But yeah, that's another kind of soul one football match.
Yeah,
and that's what Bournemouth feels like though to me as well.
Exactly, you've got to put that groundwork in now to make Spurs and Man United mean anything.
Yeah.
If I'm saying, we'll beat Spurs, and if we need something at United, maybe we'll beat them as well. If we lose to Bournemouth, don't really
but it's a huge game. It's absolutely massive. It really is do or die. So yeah, you can't comprehend, even though other teams need to kind of drop off and whatnot, but no one's going to collect, no one can collect all of their points because they play each other, etc. So yeah, for us it's just take care of your own business.
Yeah, we're the only team in that race for the top 5 who can win every game,
without it impacting anyone else. So yeah, it's not in our hands in terms of if we win the 3 we get in the Champions League, but it's in our hands for it to mean something, essentially.
Before we talk a little bit about our opponents, let's go over to Tactics Corner and pick an Aston Villa 11 to face Bournemouth. Welcome to Tactics Corner then. I'll start with a shout out to Galazzo, the action-packed football strategy game. Now, more information on this later in the month when they release their game in more detail. However, I'm going to leave that there because they've sent us these lovely counters in claret and blue with the numbers on as well. So for those that are watching, we can now see, we've got more than 11 players here and some in the corner that we don't need to care about at the moment, like Emi Buendia, number 10. He won't be playing.
I'm already looking forward to doing our summer transfer videos where we do this, and then I remember when we did it for Brenner Chair and for Illing Jr.
How are they all going to fit into the squad?
Yeah, we basically said they're going to have to go on loan. Sorry, and but at the time it was we didn't have the rest of the squad done, I suppose. I like the detailing of the goalkeeper kit specifically,
nice on
because going the extra mile there, Galazzo. So
fair play.
Well, already here's a big decision.
What's your defence then?
Mings or Konsa?
Mings or Torres?
Sorry, Mings for me. But I think then Emery appears to play Torres so often.
I think it probably will be Torres.
Do you think?
Yeah, because I've thought for a few times now that it will be Mings' time. Palace, Fulham, even Man City, but it hasn't been. So I don't know whether there's a knock there, and obviously this is pre-presser, so maybe we'll hear something. But I think just on preference, I think
you think Torres will play it. So this is going to be this is a predicted 11 rather than what we think
for the moment. Yeah.
Okay.
Left back, I
think Dean plays.
I think it's Matsson's position to lose now. I think the back four for the rest of the season now, give or take injuries, because there's a week apart, will be Cash, Konsa, Torres, Maatsen.
I just think Dean's Dean would be safer, I think, against a team like Bournemouth. Who were
came on
quick
against Fulham for
I say quick. Mattson's quicker than Dean, but in terms of just defensively, get your angle wrong and you're done. So I would say Dean.
Get Dean for now and Cash the other side, yeah?
Yeah, Cash the other side, yeah. Okay. And then in midfield, does it pick itself?
No, John, it doesn't pick itself, you absolute fool. This is future me now from yesterday. That's not me having a go at John at Tactics Corner. We filmed this Thursday afternoon before the news that Youri Tielemans would be out for the rest of the season, broken by Jacob Tanswell of The Athletic. Unai Emery will speak about Tielemans in his pre-match press conference, which is later this afternoon, but I couldn't leave the video as it was, and we're talking about the Onana-Kamara pivot with Tielemans further in front, because obviously that won't happen. Now, the easy solution here is that Onana and Kamara are the pivot still, and maybe McGinn plays the 10 role. Rodgers could also play the 10 role, which I think he's best anyway. If I was now picking the 11, I would have Kamara and Onana, McGinn on the right, Rodgers in the middle, Ramsey on the left, and Watkins up front, which I think is dangerous. Tielemans is a blow. Like there's no getting away from that. However, as I've said in this episode, or I'm about to say later, this is our hardest game of the season, I think. So if we can get through this one without Youri Tielemans, then I would expect us to be able to beat Spurs and Man United without him as well. And Villa have squad depth. This is the whole point of building a team. Onana can come in as a £50 million signing to this side. Like, it's a downgrade on Tielemans because Tielemans is excellent, but Onana is still a very good footballer. Ross Barkley could come in and do a job if required as well with him back fit, which wouldn't be my pick, but again, there's choices there. So when I was driving home after we'd been to the office and I saw this pop up on my phone, it was a bit like, oh, what disaster. Like, it's going to be really difficult to win these games now without Tielemans because he's been that good, like undoubtedly player of the season. However, the more I thought about it, we have options. We have squad depth. McGinn could even play in the pivot with Kamara, which again, it would not be my preference, but it's an option. So Tielemans being unavailable, blow. Of course it is. But kind of end of Villa's season, absolutely not. Villa can still win this game and the remaining ones. It just makes, in my opinion, the task that little bit harder. Me and John spoke a little bit about the midfield options, and in the rest of the video, you'll see the little number 8 icon on the tactics board, which obviously it won't be him now. I thought I'd give a little bit of my thoughts on the Tielemans situation, because the video that we recorded on Thursday lunchtime was already out of date by Thursday afternoon. Obviously, we normally do our previews live after the presser, but for the Palace game and for this one, we wanted to get into the office and do something a bit different, and immediately had our fingers burnt by a season-ending injury. Let's crack on with the rest of our team selection from yesterday.
Rodgers plays his best football on the left for me, or in the middle when he got into that half space. He was relatively unproductive, I think, at times in the game. But then he still made that, or played a key role in the corner that we won. So when he took it from the left, Maatsen linked with him really well, which is something I'm really encouraged for next season down there. Yeah. He plays the ball to Rodgers and takes Tete out of the game, one touch, and then outside of the boot to Asensio, and then we win the corner, and then Tielemans scores from it. So it's moments like that he may lose the ball another 5 times, but that's a key moment that he's helped us score from. And then he plays the ball in behind, didn't he, for Watkins. That was on a counter-attack, so it doesn't really matter where you are on the pitch. If you've got quality, you'll find your teammate. But on the left, I do think Rodgers certainly suits that space better.
I like this setup of Onana, Kamara and Tielemans further forward. However, we've seen lots of times of Tielemans being in there, Rodgers in the middle, Ramsey on this side, and I'd have Maatsen as well.
I'm okay with that as well. I think that's a kind of a versatile option, maybe even something that you see after 60 minutes. Such a nice option, isn't it, Onana, when you are going away against these teams, especially sides who aren't as physically dominant. If Onana can get around the pitch really well, stretch his legs and cover ground, especially in these smaller pitches as well, it's like an added bonus. Why would you not use that?
We both expect Emery to play John McGinn, and he'd be in our preferred 11s as well. I can already hear people in the comments suggesting that if this is a right winger position, John McGinn is not a right winger when the likes of a Bailey or Marlon could start in this position. Is there not any chance of them playing this fixture, but any merits to just have this and hug the width?
My favourite thing from last season was Leon Bailey doing that, because everything else flowed. And I've said it so many times that's why Bailey should play. Right now, I'm not so sure. I know he played well against Palace, but it appears his time with Villa might be edging towards an end, so it doesn't feel quite right at the moment. This is why I'm not keen on the Rodgers playing on the right, because you want, so as we had it there, the width from Bailey, right? McGinn isn't going to do that. He's just not. He's going to come inside automatically and cover this kind of space, which is fine because Maatsen does that, and that's great. And Rodgers will come inside and make up numbers in the box, fine as well. But then you want Cash to be doing that, which again, here, fine. But then you're really vulnerable here. Kirkes, Ouattara, whoever else that they have, they've got Tavernier, Evan Nilsson, lots of players who can really hurt you in transition. That's a problem. So that's why, and by the way, Cash has to do that, because if not, this space here, again, is still Kirkes' territory. That's one out ball and then a ball around the corner or whatever it may be. So that's why McGinn and Rodgers, for me, when they play here, it's just, I don't know, I don't really feel it, to be honest with you. It's almost like they both want to do the same thing, which can work, but then I don't think it helps us back in defence. So,
and what we said before about whether it's stylistically or personnel, that what Maatsen will do, Cash doesn't. That if we just have Rodgers in the inside and flip Jacob Ramsey to be the ball, how often do we see Cash come forward and then go back again? And it just recycle around, and we don't see this often enough. So I think there's merits to flipping it the other way, as we were speaking. It
certainly feels like we're almost. If that was at the start of the season, you'd almost be like, well, we've tried something and it hasn't quite worked. But now, because we're so late, it feels like, well, in pre-season, this is certainly something we have to control and improve on. Because as you say there, it's almost like the players have got so far, and there isn't the right option because Rodgers probably is a bit uncomfortable here, and then he's crowding out this space, and Really, Emery clearly has a plan for it.
You'd want this midfield runner, wouldn't you, to be coming into the box with Watkins?
I don't think it suits us what we try and do there. The system works, but the players and the personnel that we put in those positions feels like kind of shoehorned in.
Definitely.
Really.
Sounds that ball, by the way. Right, that'll do. On with the rest of the episode.
Talk to me a little bit about Bournemouth then, John.
Yeah.
Who scares you? Who should we be concerned about?
Well, the fact that Evan Nilsson was suspended for this game and then wasn't equals goal. So we're gonna have to come from one behind.
Bournemouth won already.
Yeah.
First shot on target.
Well, probably. Yeah. The odds would suggest it's likely. Their centre backs I really like. Watkins has always had quite a decent record against Bournemouth, actually.
Yeah.
But whenever I've watched him play against Zabani, I always think like I wouldn't want to do that.
He had a good job on him at Villa Park, didn't he?
He's just a lot of people looking at Huijsen. Dean Huijsen is going to leave, go somewhere, don't know where, Chelsea probably. Who cares? Like good player, but Zabani is there as well, and I wouldn't say I like him more than Huijsen, but every time I watch him, I've been impressed with him before. Even when he was playing with like Senesi, who's also a good player, I've always looked at Zabani and thought he's like 22 or something, or he was back then, I don't know, 21 even, and he's massive. Yeah, good defender. He likes to defend. And whenever Watkins has got his back into him, Watkins always does so well to get something out of him because he's physically very good. But they've got threats. They've got Kirkes from left back, no less.
Don't think he'll be there next season either.
No. So how they look next year will be interesting. Iraola, will he stay? Will he go? I don't know. But
I've said they can still get into some kind of European competition themselves as well.
This
is a big game for them.
For them to get into Europe, full stop, is it's not us getting into the Champions League. It's very different. But in terms of a motivation, it's possibly even. Well, it's greater, I would suggest. Us getting into the Champions League is like a big dream for us. But we will still have to sell players. We will still have to rebuild. We will still be in Europe next season, which is great. There's pros to being in the Europa League. Like you can win that competition. You can win the Champions League as well. Look how far we went. But the Europa League is a solid. There's good things that come of that. So no one's going to be crying if we get into the Europa League. But for Bournemouth, it's Conference League or nothing. And to get into Europe, it's Bournemouth.
Yeah,
like it's mental. So. Yeah, if they do that, then firstly fair play, but also if that's not a motivation for their players, I don't know what is. The only thing I would say to that is that Huijsen, as you say, will be leaving, Kirkes will be leaving. Iraola knows that it would be an incredible feat, but equally, that's not his last shot.
Yeah, how far
do you know
can
what
you take them, really?
They are professionals, though, so they'll want to get the job done and become essentially like legends, I suppose, for Bournemouth.
Almost like leaving that legacy behind of like, we did get you into the Conference League or Europa League maybe, but we are going to leave, but we're going to leave anyway. But at least we can do is get you something for that.
That's why they should have a huge motivation, but equally, there is that caveat as well. They have dangerous players in transition for sure. Ouattara, who I don't think trained early this week, so I'm not too sure as the time of recording this if he's going to be fit or not, don't know. Evan Nilsson, as I say, will be ready. Tavernier is a really good player. They have, a lot of threat. I think Christie's out for the season, if I'm not mistaken. And he was absolutely crucial for them. So, a player who was fundamental to everything that they've been doing in terms of pressing and setting presses and stuff. So that's a miss for them. But a good team, like really good team. But again, if we want to be the 4th or 5th best side in the league, you go to Bournemouth and you win. Yeah. And I don't mean that go to Bournemouth. I just mean you go to any team that is below you and win. The only thing is, though, and this is a great stat for Villa.
He's got his phone out, everybody.
Bournemouth are unbeaten in their last 5 Premier League games. That wasn't the stat. Bournemouth have won 7 of 13 Premier League games against teams starting the day above them.
Oh, okay.
Which is, not ideal. Which is the highest win rate of any side to play more than one such game this term.
Right.
So they punch above their weight, essentially. And that was interesting because I do remember there's quite a few results where they failed to beat sides that you'd expect them to beat. At home, they've won one of their last...
Back to January?
Yeah, I told you, didn't I? Yeah.
I saw a league table on social media. I don't have it in front of me, obviously, but I can't even remember what the parameters were. But it was like, since X date, or since somebody was appointed, or something like that, Bournemouth were like 5th or 6th in the league.
I remember when we played them last season, the game after Lille, which was a huge win that I don't think many people will remember. Well, will remember, but don't recognise the significance of. But then they were, I think, 6th in the table of... It was like from November onwards or something. So potentially from that date until now, they would be in the top 8 for sure, I think. A side who, since Areola's had his methods in place, are a European contender or have been since then. At any other point in the campaign, a draw at Bournemouth would probably be seen as like a decent result. You've avoided defeat against a side who would like to think they could beat you. Like last season, Watkins' 90th minute header. That was at the end of it. Okay, take that. And then we go and beat Arsenal and City. So, but right now, only a win will do. So, that is the only aim for us.
Let's end with a score prediction then. This is either going to be head or heart, but it's probably both same outcome anyway. We both know Villa have to win. So, to predict anything other than a win would be pointless. So, why would you even do that? I keep saying...
Going to do it anyway.
I keep saying Villa won't win all 4. Fulham before this, so we've done one, so we won't win all 3 now. Now that might be, as I said, and caveated a few times, maybe Man United on the final day doesn't mean anything anyway, so we don't win because it didn't mean anything. However, if there's something riding on all of them, are we going to go and win all 4? I don't know. I do think we'll definitely beat Spurs. If we've beaten Bournemouth, I think we then do beat Man United because you've got to do it then.
That's how we were breaking it down before.
Exactly,
You can beat Fulham and you can beat Spurs. But if you beat Bournemouth,
then you can do that, but... If I'm expecting us to drop points somewhere, it would be here. However, I'm going to do it anyway. I can't predict a Villa draw, even though I think that might happen. I'll say it now, that might happen.
You just don't want to do it.
I can't. I've got to say Villa are going to win. So, most common scoreline in football,
2-1
Villa.
If you put a gun to my head, I would probably say 2-2, to be honest with you.
Yeah, again, wouldn't shock me at all. And like you said, during the season, a 2-2 at Bournemouth, fine, decent result. They're good now. Yeah. They're not like relegation threatened Bournemouth, and that's a crap result. But here now, and Villa need to win, that wouldn't be good enough, and that'd be a massive disappointment.
It feels like one of those games where, as I said, we can win the match for sure.
Of course we can.
But for some reason, I have this kind of like visualization thing where, can I see the scoreboard of Villa winning 1-0? No. Can I see them win 2-1? Like, yeah, possibly. 3-1, no. 3-2, no. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. So, I don't know.
You can't draw though.
I'm not confident that we're going to win. I don't think anyone can be. But can we win? Yeah. Like, obviously, we definitely can.
Yeah.
But doing it is another thing. And, my honest prediction would be 2-2 though.
Okay. I would think 1-1 is my draw. But Villa are going to win. Let's just leave it at that, shall we? Let us know in the comments your score prediction and also your thoughts on team selection as well. John, thanks for joining me on this one. Thank you for watching or listening to this episode of the Claret and Blue podcast, and we'll see you tomorrow for the post-match reaction. Bye-bye.